Amercia Morris is an author and content creator, and she's with us now. How are you doing?
I am awesome. How are you?
I'm doing great as well. Now, you're the creator and host of Planet Nookie, and you've also created a book with the same name. So, what's that book about, first of all?
So, Planet Nookie is an erotic fantasy.
Mm.
Uh, we have African American deities who are the main characters. It's a book. It's a novella.
Mm.
A very short story, short read, and it's just a planet full of Nookie. So we have Ani and Gamba, who are the rulers of Planet Nookie, and then they have their citizens, the Schlongs and the Twats, who worship them in an erotic way. And there's a lot of discord in the planet, which they actually recreate. And there's significant parts of Ani and Gamba that make them a fantasy. Gamba has special features. I don't want to get too in detail. I don't know who's listening. He has special features. Ani has special features. They also recreate Nanya and Zamani. And that's just without getting too graphic.
Yeah. I mean, of all the authors I've interviewed, this is probably the most interesting idea that someone's had for a book. So how did you first get the idea for this? Where did it come from?
I actually started writing a completely different genre, a completely different book. And I did have the characters already, Ani and Gamba, because of their names in their meanings. Gamba means warrior, and Ani means most glorified. So I wanted to create that atmosphere where we had deities, African deities, who were in control of their own world. But I thought after I wrote it, and then I rewrote it, and I rewrote it again, and I got Planet Nookie. Yeah. I don't know how. It just came. I did a lot of research on sex. Like, I talked about how sex can be healing with the endorphins and the serotonin release, how it helps. So that's why the planet is ruled in an erotic way, because in reality they're healing each other and everybody's happy and free.
Are there any central themes of the book or any kind of message behind it?
There is one. And one part of the book, Ani becomes angry at Gamba and she uses her body as a weapon.
Yeah.
And in reality, we should use our bodies and our powers and our gifts to heal each other and help each other. But she takes her sex as he lives and survives off of her, and her having the sun inside of her, which gives us energy, it gives us life. So she has so many things about her, her makeup that makes her a healer, and she keeps that husband. And in that message, I want to say that's not the right thing to do. You know, if you love someone, you shouldn't treat them badly. You should try to uplift them. You should try to encourage them, even if it is, as we may think, as simple as sex.
Yeah. And you've mentioned that it's just a novella, a short story. Have you thought about making it a longer story or doing a similar book of the same kind of style but longer?
I had a great response from Planet Nookie and people love it. So I am going, and when I wrote the book, when I wrote the novella, I made it the ending so that it can possibly be, because this was my first published work. So I wanted to see how people would respond to me. So I left the ending so that it can either be a continuation or it cannot be, depending on the response I got. But because I got an overwhelming response, people loved it. People embraced it and they want more.
Yeah.
I am going to write a part 2 to it. And that will be Planet Nookie. And then kind of like Planet Orgasm is born, because in that book, Nanya and Zamani actually come to Earth to snatch souls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find that people are maybe reluctant to read this book because it's not the type of book that I think people would be open about the fact that they read it, if you get what I mean?
They are. That was one thing. That was the other part of it. My closer friends, and that's the surprising part, my people who are closest to me, they are very afraid of Planet Nookie. But I wrote that book as well because I realized people in my communities are afraid of Nookie. They're afraid of these stigmas that's attached to sex and relationships. So I wanted to break those stigmas. I wanted to give an open platform and people to be able to be comfortable and free with that. So because of their their reluctancy to embrace Planet Nookie, I actually decided to write Blooms of Nookie, which is a little bit, it's still and erotic in a sense, but it's not as intense as Planet Nookie. Yeah.
And you've also got the TV show and podcast of the same name. How closely does that link to the book? Is it a similar type of vibe going on? Because I'm assuming a podcast isn't where you tell a story. So do you talk about issues in more detail?
Yes. So the podcast is in hopes to, some people don't, I don't want to say a lot of people because a lot of people do read, but some people do not read. Yeah. Some people respond better to visuals. Some people respond better to, just having a conversation. I want people to feel comfortable with me. I want people to get to know me. I want people to feel comfortable with themselves. Some people will watch Planet Nookie, but they don't want people to know that they're watching it. So they're rather watch instead of walking around with a book and people know that they're divulging in something that extends Nookie. So it gives other people who want to be a part of that group. I'm trying to just create a community where we see the, true value in our bodies, relationships, and maybe some other people who have been afraid of Nookie or sex, have been afraid of that. I want them to just feel open.
So what came first? Was it the TV show and the podcast before the book?
I wrote Planet Nookie first. And after I actually did another show, Nookie After Dark. And then I decided to do Planet Nookie because Nookie After Dark was more so entertaining. But Planet Nookie to me, is going to get to the root of really why I started my website, nookie.life, Planet Nookie. Is really for people because I had reservations and fears about sex as well. And this was my way of attacking them. And I'm sure there are others like me I have talked to and have spoke with and been introduced with people. And it's usually because of past traumas. So I want to create that environment with Planet Nookie because Planet Nookie is a safe planet. It's healing, it's fun, it's happy, it's the most beautiful planet in our universe, and it's all surrounded around sex. So if you can feel that and you can visualize that, then any of your past traumas can actually be broken and healed through Planet Nookie.
Yeah. So in your free time, do you get up to anything else, or are you writing and hosting this podcast all the time?
In my free time, I do. In my free time, I spend time with my family. I garden. I love to do outdoor adventures and sports. I mean, anything outdoors, whether it's winter sports, snowboarding, gardening, swimming, fishing, anything. Games. I love to have fun. Anything that will allow me to laugh, and laughter is what I live by. If you can't laugh at yourself, if you can't laugh at your friends, I do not need you in my life, because there is more so than Nookie, is the most healing medicine ever. So that is what I do.
Absolutely. Well, where are we able to check out this book and listen to the podcast everywhere if we're interested?
So you can look at the Planet Nookie. You can go to nookie.life, where I have a blog. It's actually being reconstructed because I had it was built on one platform, so I actually took it to another web hosting, and I'm redoing that whole site, which is nookie.life. And then Planet Nookie is available on Amazon, Kindle, and paperback. You can also catch Planet Nookie on YouTube, Nookie After Dark on YouTube as well. Blooms of Nookie is released right now, and that is about a young girl, and you can get into that. So Blooms of Nookie actually just got released yesterday, and that is available on Amazon Kindle right now. The paperback, it will be available soon, and that's on Amazon.
Yeah.
So,
well, thank you very much for coming on the show today. It's been interesting talking to you.
Thank you for having me.